To another edition of the MetsXMFanZone live podcast, home of your everything New York Mets. If you guys love our shows, you guys could always tweet, like, and subscribe to listen to our show. We are live on Amazon Music. We are live on iHeartRadio. We are live on Spotify. We are even live on Beam. Is, I guess that's what you would call it. But we are live on all platforms. So if you guys are sticking tuned with us, make sure that you guys listen to the very end of our live shows, because we always giving out some contest stuff. And if you want to enter into our contests, you could always check out our website by going to MetsXMFanZone.org. So we got lots of groundbreaking news that we're going to cover this morning. We are not only doing a early morning shows, we are going to try to start doing early, midday, and also nighttime. So we're probably going to start doing 3 shows on our Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday live streams. So if you want to check those out, make sure that you're listening in on the show. So we got lots of ground news to cover. So now, in regards to spring training, because spring training will get very close. We got pitchers and catchers going in almost 60 days from now. So what are we going to see? What are the factors there? And also, what are the benefits of what we are seeing in regards to the moves that the Mets made in the offseason? Because obviously the offseason was the big talk of this year for the New York Mets. Not getting Ohtani, not going out getting Yamamoto, but there are Imaga that's still left on the trading block there because he's, still on that free agents list. We got Jordan Montgomery still on that free agents list. We got Blake Snell that's on that list also as well. So, there has been a lot of factors that we were able to see on where the Mets really want to go with that. In my personal estimate opinion is that I think that the Mets really wanted to go after some of these guys, and they still can. If you really think about it, they still could really go after these guys. It's just, I think that the moves that the Mets made, a lot of finesse moves, with going and getting, Ramirez, going out and getting Michael Tompkin, which I think was a really good move, because I think Michael Tompkin is a really good pitcher. I love that sidearm of his. So, a lot of good moves there in regards to the pitching. Yohan Ramirez, which I really liked. There are so many really good moves that the Mets made this offseason. But you know what? I'll tell you guys one thing, which I didn't cover a lot. Jorge Lopez, which he was from Miami. And I think that was also a pretty decent move, to say the least. So, which you could probably get into that back end of the rotation in the bullpen, because, due with the lack of bullpen that the Mets had last year, going into the 2024 season, they got a lot of depth to cover, because a lot of the Joey Lucchese's, what's his name? Tyler McGill. These guys weren't good, and of course you got David Peterson. These players weren't really so good. So going into the most of experience in regards to pitching, going out and getting Jorge Lopez. Going out and getting Ramirez, going out and getting Tompkin, which I really feel that's going to be a good move for the Mets. We got a lot of other keys to factor also, which was the outfield, because the outfield was the big talk of the offseason, and third base was also a big talk of the offseason. So the Mets needed some depth there. So knowing that now that David Stern has said that Brandon Nimmo is not going to be your center fielder this year. He will be your left fielder this year, which the Mets went out and got Harrison Bader. Harrison Bader is a really good depth of the center field, and we all know on how good he can play the field, not so much for his bat, but also very good for his defense, which I feel that the defense is really that talking point. You want to be able to go with more defense than you do with offense with his bat. He could probably give you 14, 15 home runs, but state of the facts that, the Mets really wanted him for his depth. And then the Mets going out and getting Cooper Hamill. Now, what did we see out of Cooper Hamill back in 2022, 2023? Where did the Mets want to go with this guy? No, he doesn't hit a lot of home runs, but we do know that he's also another depth guy. Looking back in 2023, he had 23 at-bats, which wasn't a lot. This guy has been a little bit on that injury prone, but we could see the stats back in 2022 that he batted for 201. He had 17 RBIs. He had he had 3 home runs. Again, not a guy that's really focused on his bat wise, more focused on his defense wise. So I really do feel that he could be a good move for the Mets in regards to depth. So you're probably going to see a little bit more depth in that matter. Then we're talking about the DH role. What can we focus on with DH? And I really do feel that the biggest move in the offseason by far for me was DJ Stewart. DJ Stewart had a really good second half of last year, batting .240, going for 48 RBIs in the matter of that second half of the season for the New York Mets. Had a really good stretch when Sterling Marte went down for the Mets, due to headaches, due to injury. And bringing him in was a really good move. And plus, with Daniel Vogelbach being such a failure for the Mets needed somebody to come in and really step up his game. And DJ Stewart was the guy to really come in and step up his game. So the Mets ended up bringing him back to a 1-year, $8 million. I think that the $8 million obviously is going to come out of the people's pockets when you go into a stadium, but I take that because DJ Stewart has a really good bat, and batting .240, a little bit higher than that. If you look at his stats from last year, he had a really great season. So I want to see a little bit of this same momentum going into the 2024 season with him batting, having 11 home runs, batting .240, which he did bat .240, and not so much on the stealing base wise. I think he's going to probably do that this year because, of course, the rules have been a little altered, and it has been altered for quite some time now. But I want to see a little bit more stealing coming out of DJ Stewart because he can run and he can steal. So I want to see a little bit of everything for DJ Stewart, and plus he can play a really good outfield. So I kind of want to see a little bit tuning on that. And plus he's a really good utility guy overall. Then let's shift factors, because obviously we know in the offseason third base was a big concern. What do I see out of third base here? I think that Brett Beatty is okay. A lot of people have really high hopes for him, and a lot of people say, this guy has a great swing, and I think he's going to give you a lot of home runs with that bat, and he has that it factor. But you know what? Looking at his stats last year and prior to being him in the minors, I want to see a little bit more action coming out of Brett Beatty defensively. Does he have a lot to prove there at third base? Yes. Are they not giving him the ball as much and to ride there? I think in spring training you're going to see a lot of him at third. So he's going to learn that third base a little bit more. Does he? Again, like I said, he has that it factor. He has the bat. He gave the Mets 9 home runs this year. He gave them 34 RBIs. He batted at 212, which again we could get that up. We could get that up quite a bit. But he needs to be able to stop swinging at outside pitching, because he does have a tendency of swinging so far out of the plate. You want to see him lay off on that quite a bit, because he is, if you really watch and analyze him, which I do quite often, you see him swinging so far out at 74% of the time, where his action is so far in. And when that ball comes in, he launches them and he gives you home runs. And we've seen that when he is on. Now, if I had to weigh in on his at-bats, I think the consistency will work a little bit better. I think his approach needs to get a little bit better and bring his hands in a little bit more, and bring his approach in a little bit more, and stop trying to go out there and get the hits, because you can see that he does get a little frustrated up at the plate. Like you could read a guy. You could say, hey, I think he looks a little bit more frustrated, looks a little bit more off-centered there at the plate. But I really would like to see him just kind of ease up a little bit, not, go and be be intense-wise. And I really do feel that if he could really step up in such of a manner, I think he's going to be probably one of the best on the team. Then, let's move to another approach, because we have it at the end of 2024. We got free agency, and we got a lot of free agencies guys. Number one is going to be the focal point of the season would be Pete Alonso. What do we see out of Pete Alonso? We all know that he is the home run champ. He is the face of this franchise next to Francisco Lindor. What is up with that? Now, I'll tell you guys in reports that I have talking with Met officials. I have, been all over the place. I know Scott Boras better than anybody knows Scott Boras in Major League Baseball. I will tell you that Pete Alonso is going to go to free agency in the off season of this year. Do I think that the Mets are not going to go and re-sign him? Absolutely not. The Mets will definitely re-sign Pete Alonso in the off season. That's kind of like where they're going to go. I do feel that Pete Alonso again. I mean, you got Francisco Lindor that's going to be here for quite a very long time. Same thing with Brandon Nimmo. Those are your two core guys, and also Kodai Senga as your top pitcher in this rotation. Pete Alonso is the guy. He is your hitter. He is the guy on this franchise next to Francisco Lindor. So do we feel that the Mets are going to re-sign him? Definitely, I mark my words on this, and I really do think that the Mets are going to probably go to a 6-year, 7-year deal. Probably not any higher than that. Probably at like $250, $260 million. I know that the Mets have been engaging, and the Mets have been talking numbers with Pete Alonso, but I want to see that the Mets probably go into the ballpark of 290. I would go maybe at that mark. But again, you know he's the guy that's going to give you a good season each and every time. So obviously Pete Alonso is definitely going to sign. Then what can we talk about a comeback year? Because obviously who went out in 2023 was Edwin Diaz. Man, I will tell you, the fall of the New York Mets back in 2023 was the decline of Edwin Diaz. Edwin Diaz in the Baseball Classic, got injured and missed the whole entire season. It was such a blow for Mets. But I will tell you, going in 2022, probably one of the best closers in the game, if not the best closer in the game. I mean, he came and made such a big impact to this ball club. Not only that, it just motivated the music. With that guy who I don't know, Canto, whatever his name is. I mean, that music, it brought everybody together. The Latin community, it brought everyone together. Even the Latin community, which is amazing. It really is. It's absolutely just the feel, the vibe. Edwin Diaz going out there, doing his thing. And we lost confidence. We lost confidence way before that even happened in Edwin Diaz. Like, this guy is not going to be really good. What's going on with him? Moving to another club always impacts a player. Because by you transitioning, going into another club, maybe your head is not on, maybe your game is off, but then when you start settling in, you start getting your mojo onto a new club, coming from Seattle, going to the New York Mets. I mean, it's a different atmosphere. The light is on you even more. New York is probably one of the best places you ever want to play. Sports in general. You got cross town, you got the Yankees. You got in Manhattan, the New York Knicks. Because if you really think about it, the New York Knicks are it. The playoffs start and the Knicks are in, forget it, there's so much coverage. And then you got the Jets and the Giants. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers going out in 4 plays of the season really took a blow to the playoff spot. Then the Giants, they had their time with Daniel Jones. He goes out, right? Who comes on in? We started to feel that Italian magic and Tommy DeVito. Then, of course, you got your New York Mets. The Mets were supposed to go into the playoffs somewhere there. The Mets go out and spend so much money to find out they're having a bust of a season. So, you got to have that little redhead stepchild with the New York Mets, because the Mets have been so unrelevant for so many years, because the Yankees have always been that top, and now the Mets start to really get their feel, and then it always crashes down on them. But you always got the eyes behind the head. What are the Yankees going to do? What are they going to do? They're not doing shit. They don't have the Steinbrenners anymore. Well, they do, but they don't have the old man like Steve Cohen is now, because that's who the old man is now for the Mets. So the Mets have the cash flow. The Mets have the money to spend. They're not going to spend it foolishly. David Stern is a really good guy. I think David Stern is really going to build up this team quite, often. I think you're going to see a lot of years with David Stern. Young guys, same age as me. So, you're going to see him to be on this club for a very, very long time. Are they going to go and actually get a GM at the end of this season, from what we are hearing, that the Mets have a possibility of going and getting the GM, but David Stern is planning on being that guy for a while. I don't think the Mets are going to go out and actually get a GM at the end of the season. But I do feel that the Mets could maybe look at a guy if they really wanted to. So we'll kind of see what happens with that. But I will tell you guys one thing, that this team, 2024, expect big things. The Mets might not go out there and get those fancy players, but you know what? At the end of the day, you go out, you win. You go out and you win. And that's what I feel. Probably a lot of Met fans think the same way I do, because you want to go out there and win. Even though the light is shined on New York, the light is shined on the Mets right now. And, a lot of people want to see the Mets decline. But you know what? At the end of the day, the Mets have what it takes to win a World Series. I do feel it for this team. Maybe it might not be this year. Maybe it might be next year. You never know. The Mets are building their farm system. They're getting a lot of guys in the farm system. And they're gonna build and build and build and build. So, again, give it time, Met fans. Don't get so angry. Met fans are probably it's so funny. I find that talking with Met fans, talking with Yankee fans, I get the deal. Met fans get so frustrated. We want a good season. We want to win. We're here. Let's do this. Let's get this done. You got the Dodgers on the opposite side, doing their thing. The Mets are doing their thing. I don't think there should be any worry in that factor. I think the Mets are playing it right. Listen, we did it last year. We tried to spend money. It didn't happen. It didn't work. So let the Dodgers do the same thing. If the Dodgers are going to go out and spend their money, so be it. Go out and spend your money. Doesn't mean you're going to win. The teams that do behind the scenes are the ones that always come out on top. So expect big things for the Mets, even though they're not getting the big stars that you think they're doing. And they might not. They might not, or they might will. So, you're all hoping to hear news on maybe a big trade talk, maybe a big sign. But I don't see anything happening in regards to Blake Snell coming to the New York Mets. I didn't know. I will admit it, and I will go on the record and say that I had high expectations for the Mets to go out and get Yamamoto, and it didn't happen. I did report it, and I will say that the Mets were going out and getting Yamamoto. Are we right majority of the time? No, we're not always right. A lot of the times when we get press releases, especially for us, the reporters and writers, we don't always get everything spot on at every time when we get papers to write. I will say when we get the press agents of clubs come to us and go, get the story out, then we know. Then we actually officially know at that point. But I will say one thing. I was wrong. And I will admit when I was wrong. But I will tell you guys one thing. If the New York Mets win this year, it would be a really good thing. Because I really do feel that the Mets could win. And I think that with the guys that they have on this team, Adrian Hauser, big move. Edwin Diaz, one of the best closers in the game. Going out, getting Kodai Senga, which actually was a good move for the Mets. Then, Johan Ramirez, Luis Severino, which I think that was also a really good move. Michael Tompkin. Then, Tyler Hyman, which I think a lot of you guys, if you guys don't know who Tyler Hyman is, you'll start to see him this year, maybe a little bit behind Alvarez. Because the Mets are going to make a trade with Navarez, from what I'm hearing. And then we got a guy in Luis Angel Acuna. I've seen this guy in spring training. Man, is this guy super fast. So expect to see big things out of him. And then Diego Castillo, maybe Joey Wendell. You probably guys might see these guys in spring training. So we got lots to cover. Harrison Bader. I think he's going to be really good for the Mets. I like that. I just want to see a little bit more defense in him. I'm not worried about his bat, because we know that his bat is not really super impressive to Met fans. But if he could save me runs in a game, then so be it. You know. Then we're probably going to see Cooper Hummel. We might see Alex Ramirez. Tyrone Taylor, I don't know if we'll see Tyrone Taylor too much, but I think Tyrone Taylor will be good. So, I think there's going to be a lot of players. I think there's going to be a lot of limelight on the Mets this year. I think it's definitely going to have a lot of coverage, but expect to see big things coming out of this team in 2024. So that's the angle right here on MetsXMFanZone Live. If you guys love this show, always tweet, like, and subscribe, because, I mean, without you guys, we are nothing. So, I mean, we want to be able to give you guys all the coverage of your New York Mets live streams. Now, I kind of want to get a little bit into that, because, you know, how to get games this year. A lot of people want to know on how you can get games. Are they cheaper? I will tell you guys one thing. If you guys are getting a TV provider services when you are on your phone or on your tablet or on the TV, I will tell you guys, MetsXMFanZone is probably one of the best live streaming services for Mets. If you are a big Mets fan and all you want to watch is Mets throughout the whole entire season, we give it to you on your devices. I mean, you get it 24/7 when you sign up to one of our subscriptions. I mean, our memberships are always out there for you guys. We do have a weekly plan. We have a monthly plan. We have a yearly plan. And I really do recommend getting the monthly, because the monthly plan, you're able to get the live streams. You're able to get 24/7 live access services. You could chat with our support system if you had any issues throughout the whole entire season. We are doing big things, and we are having our streams in 4K quality too. So if you want to watch a really big Ultra HD live stream, this is the way to go. So check out our live streams 24/7 on our website. It's at MetsXMFanZone.org. I know a lot of people have been requesting, have been asking me to talk about it a little bit when they'll get notifications and push notifications when we do go live on our streams. Our streams are going to be on our website. Our podcast will be on our website also as well. And you could also download the app. Our website is app downloadable. You could also download a Google extension for our website also as well. Our services, again, is 24/7, so you'll be able to get Met live streams 24 on SNY. In the off season, I think it's also a benefit to keep it as well, because in the off season we give you Knicks, Rangers, Jets, Giants. So always check that out. And I really feel that is a really good benefit for our subscribers. So make sure that you guys go and check that out by going to MetsXMFanZone.org. I would like to thank you guys for watching. We are here to give you all of your New York Mets news, give you my opinion, my analysis, and all of your Mets. I want to thank you guys for watching. Be safe, be well, And we'll see you guys real soon, right here on the MetsXMFanZone podcast. I am Anthony, and we'll see you guys real soon.